Today we are adding and subtracting fractions. Again, this is part 3. We're going to talk about renaming fractions and borrowing. I already sort of used that term earlier in lesson number 2, but today we're really going to emphasize borrowing. So to rename a fraction, we're just changing the way a fraction appears without changing its value so that you can easily add or subtract it. But when we borrow, we're changing a whole number to a fraction so that you can subtract it. So here's an example of borrowing. We have 3 1/3, and if I borrow from the 3, I make it a 2, and I change the whole number that I'm borrowing to a fraction. So I have 3 1/3, I'm borrowing and making it 2 3/3 plus that other third that I had, and then altogether that makes 2 4/3. This is not my final answer. This is what I'm going to use in a addition or subtraction problem to get a final answer. I'm borrowing because I'm subtracting more than what I have, so I have to borrow. This is going to come into play in a few problems down the road. If I have a whole number, I might need to rename it as a fraction so that I can use it again to add or subtract. So here I have 7, and I'm changing it to 6 4/4. I have not changed its value. It's still worth the same. I'm just changing the way it looks or it appears so that I can use it more easily in the problem. So I'm going to add or subtract these with borrowing or regrouping. So I have 3 1/6, and I'm taking away 5/6. Take a look at the denominators. The denominators are the same. That's what I want. But let's look at my numerators. I have 1, and I'm trying to take away 5 from that, and I can't. So I'm going to have to borrow. So I borrow from the 3, and I make it 2 6/6. I choose 6 so that it matches my other denominator. So 3 becomes 2 6/6, and I'm bringing with it the 1/6 that I had and combining that together to make 2 7/6. Now I can subtract. 2 take away 1 whole is, 2 take away no wholes is still 2. 5/6 does not have a whole number with it. So 2 take away 0 is still 2. But 7 take away 5 is 2, and we keep the denominator the same. I need to reduce my fraction. So I notice that 2 and 6 can be divided by 2. So I do that, and I'm left with 2 1/3 as my answer. So 3 1/6, take away 5/6 is 2 1/3. Over here, number 2, I've got 8 1/3 plus 7. So I need to change this 7 and rename it so that I can add it to 8 1/3. I'm going to borrow 1 whole from the 7 and make it 6, and then rewrite the fraction as 3/3. The value is still the same as 7. I just changed its appearance, so now I can add those together. Remember, when you add mixed numbers, we add the whole numbers first. 8 plus 6 is 14. And then we're adding the fractions that have like denominators by adding their numerators. 1 plus 3 is 4. Keep the denominator the same, which is 3. I've got 14 4/3. That's an improper fraction, so I need to change the 4/3. I would change the 4/3 to 1 1/3. So I have 14 plus 1 1/3. 14 plus 1 is 15. So I have 15 1/3 as my answer. Some more examples. 7 1/8, take away 3 1/3. Well, looking at it, I do not have the same denominator. I need to have a common denominator. So I'm going to change it. 7 3/24 is what I would change this fraction to. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. And then I need to change this fraction as well. It will become 3 8/24. because 3 goes into 24 8 times 1 is 8. So looking at this fraction that I'm going to subtract, I need to look at my numerators. 3 take away 8. I cannot do that, so I have got to borrow. I need to change the 7, so it now becomes 6 and 24/24. Its value is still the same, but now I can combine it to the part that I already had so that I can easily subtract my fractions. So 24/24 and 3/24 altogether is 27/24. So now my problem should read 6 and 27/24 take away 3 and 8/24. To subtract mixed numbers, I can go ahead and subtract the whole number. 6 minus 3 is 3. Then I subtract the numerators. 27 take away 8 is 19. Keep the denominator the same. Double check to see if you can simplify that at all, and you can't. So 3 and 19/24 is our answer. Here we go, number 2. 6 and 7/9 plus 8 and 5/6. Again, I do not have common denominators, so I'll need to fix that now. So my common denominator is 36. 9 goes into 36 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. 6 goes into 36 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Now I've got common denominators. I'm adding, so my numerators I don't really have to borrow because I'm adding. So I'm going to add the whole numbers. 6 plus 8 is 14. 28 plus 30 is 58. So now I've got 14, 58, 36. That's a mouthful. I've got an improper fraction over here, so I have to change the way it looks. I bring my 14 down. I change 58/36 to 1 and 22/36. I combine my 14 plus 1 to make 15. And I notice my 22/36. I can change that or simplify that. Divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. And I'm left with 11/18. That's 15 and 11/18 as my final answer. Application. Yesterday, Danielle rode her bike 5.5 miles. Today, she rode her bike 6 1/4 miles. How much further did she ride her bike today than yesterday? How much further means I'm going to subtract. So I'm setting up a subtraction problem. I want to see how much further she rode today, and today she rode 6 1/4 miles, so I'm writing that first. And I'm going to subtract that from yesterday's miles, 5.5. So 6 1/4 take away 5.5. If we take a look at our fractions, we do not have like denominators. I need to rename my fraction. So 6 1/4 will stay 6 1/4. I need to change my 5.5 so that my half has a denominator of 4. So that the new fraction becomes 5 2/4. I did not change the value of the fraction, I just changed its appearance. But now I have 1 take away 2, and that can't happen, so I have to borrow. I take the 6 and I borrow from that and I make it 5 4/4. I combine all of my fourths and I get 5 5/4. And now I can take away, I have 5 5/4 take away 2 and 5 2/4. 5 take away 5 is nothing. 5/4 take away 2/4. I'm left with 3/4. So she rode 3/4 more miles today than she did yesterday. I would like you to try these. Do your best, show all your work. If you need to, rewind the video, go back, and re-watch some of the examples I just showed you.